in the restroom, which is closed for repairs. It smells so unbearable, but I have nowhere else to hide from my classmates. After all, there was a real hunt for me. Even from here, I can hear their screams, "We'll find you anyway!" And they will. I have no doubt about that. It wasn't long ago that selfies were taken with me since I was the brightest star of the class. But I got carried away. What kind of star am I? So, the light of a match. "Cassie, I know you're in there. Open up." There you go. It's Jared. I am so screwed. Hi, my name is Cassie, and I pretended to be rich to win the heart of the most handsome guy in the school. Well, I'm certainly not going to lie to you. This is what my real life looks like. Old trailer, which my dad found at the scrapyard, a large barrel of water which replaced our bathtub, and the narrow bed covered with curtains is my room. Some of you might think this kind of life as a groovy challenge, but you are mistaken. This is a living nightmare. We live on welfare, and our only income is our garden on which we grow vegetables for sale. Well, now you know what conditions I live in. However, my classmates knew nothing about it. I was a dark horse for everyone, the mystery girl who had no friends, and I felt comfortable because at least that way someone would talk to me sometimes. And if they found out about my poverty, I'm sure they would have started mocking me. And it would have gone on like that if I hadn't have fallen in love. Jared, he came out of nowhere. As soon as Jared transferred to our school, he had so many groupies. He could have built a harem, and I was one of them. Jared was incredibly handsome, and he was also pretty rich, except he didn't pay any attention to me, and that played tricks on me. I went from being a girl of mystery to an invisible girl. I was finally convinced of this when I decided to talk to him myself. "Hey, Jared, you look great." I wanted to look casual, but I looked like a shaky, anxious goose. The fact that he spoke to me made my heart skip a beat. "Who are you?" My insides just snapped. "I am Cassie, your classmate. I haven't seen you before skipping school." "I am sitting at the next desk." "Oh." At that moment, I was really ready to be invisible. I didn't notice. Jared shrugged and walked away, and I squeaked something back and ran away crying. But my love for Jared turned my head, and I had made a plan. Even though I was very poor, I knew a lot about the life of celebrities. No one knows about my real life, and that would give me a fresh start in high school. That means I can go from being a beggar to a major. Why didn't I say that before, that I was fabulously rich? It's so I don't get harassed. Why do I walk around in rage? It's not a problem at all. After all, many celebrities like simple clothes to protest against overconsumption. That's it. That's what I'll be protesting for. Except it was an ingenious plan, only by the standards of an idiot. It was off to a great start, and I had caused quite a stir. The first thing I did was overhear a conversation between the majors at school. Then I appeared out of nowhere and started talking to them as equals. At first, all I saw was neglect, but then I started talking confidently about the new Gucci collection and reasonably criticized it. Suddenly, aroused genuine interest. Whatever the majors were talking about, I could support the theme. Suddenly, there was a mysterious major at school who was hiding from the press, pretending to be a regular gray mouse. "I didn't think you were from our circles," he said. Jared suddenly drove up to me in his car, right in the parking lot. Yeah, but if I had a choice, I'd be just a girl. I brushed it off, amazed at my own courage. "There aren't a lot of people who can turn down wealth. That's cool." "I've got everything," I said, tiredly. "So I'm thinking about buying the school and making my own rules. What do you think?" Jared was shocked about it, and so rumors swept through the school like a hurricane. I pretended to be an obscenely rich girl with a rebellious outlook on life. In the afternoon, I told my classmates how I bought an ocean liner by mistake, which I had to turn into my own private yacht to hide from people. And at night, I would dig in the garden and bathe in a barrel. Every night, I followed trends and the life of majors on social media. But I didn't understand a lot of it because you can know about anything, but you can't become something you've never been. And that was my mistake. Also, in believing all the rich bloggers on TikTok, that was my mistake as well. Although their whole life is just a show behind which lies a very different reality than people know about. And at some point, I just started to play because I was blown away by Jared's attention. "The guys are going on a boat trip. Would you like to come with us?" One of the majors came running up as I was talking to Jared. I don't waste my money, I said confidently, but it's just a vacation. I can rest at home by the fireplace with a good book and a fresh smoothie. Money is a burden to me, not a way of showing off. I looked away languidly inside. I looked confident, but a voice was screaming in my head. Why did you say that? Why would you do that? Now Jared would definitely think I was a nerd. Well, I admire you, Jared said suddenly, and my heart melted. We started chatting online too. Although I had to find free Wi-Fi, there was another problem. Jared would send me pictures from the islands that he'd been on, and he'd send me pictures from some party. What could I have sent? My room was just a bed. But I got out of that situation too. I filmed myself pulling weeds, saying that I was helping the poor farmers, not only with money, but also with my work. Then I took 40 minutes to take a cool picture with a book. It was some old classic that I found on a park bench a year ago. But it looked so cool that I told Jared I had bought it at an auction for like $3 million. And that it wasn't just a copy, it was the original. I had no idea what that book was about because it wasn't even in English. Dad said it was in Russian. But it didn't matter because Jared probably wouldn't know about it. I did a whole photo set of me reading a Russian classic by candlelight, pushing all the frailty of a millionaire's life. Then I got a message that almost made me drop my phone. Jared loves this book and he knows Russian, and now he'll be happy to discuss the work of the author with someone. And I don't even know how to read the title. I had to sit up all night and read the English summary of the book. But in the end, Jared told me that I was judging her too superficially. I was burning up from the whole thing that I almost slipped. And then the cringe of the situation started to build. Some volunteers from the school came up to me and they began to literally pester me with conversations. We heard you were helping the farmers. We could really use your financial help to fight poverty. No problem. How much do you need? I asked proudly. Then the inner voice screamed so loud that I squealed out loud. How could I even say that? I don't even have $10 in my pocket. The volunteers looked at me strangely and told me the amount. By the standards of my fake identity, it wasn't money at all. It was only $500,000, but I don't have it. I don't even think it's right to help the poor. I tried to do the best I could, digging myself deeper and deeper hole. But what about the farmers and your charity work in Canada? The volunteers turned out to be prepared. They remembered all the rumors I was spreading. Well, farmers are doing something themselves after all. The gears in my head were frantically fiddling, and the beavers in Canada whom I helped were not people at all. Beggars have to learn how to work on their own, but they were deprived of their jobs. The volunteers didn't back down. Let me find new ones, I prayed. They needed help. I don't want to help the poor. I suddenly shouted and walked away. My head was spinning with 100 thoughts about what to do about this lie, but it was too late. Jared heard the whole thing. He texted me telling me what I had done was wrong and stupid. I was so desperate. I tried every way I could to get out of my own lies. I had to play my part to the end, so I told him that he was a spoiled brat who couldn't understand my vulnerable nature, who was so tired of the burden of money and attention. So instead of being a rebel major, I became a crazy major. Everyone was talking about me, and a lot of people wanted to put me in my place. I, meanwhile, rebelled even more violently, acting like a cocky little girl and calling everyone a pauper. Eventually, they decided to follow me to see my mansion, probably to get revenge. But as you've already understood, instead of a mansion by the sea with its own pier and yachts, all they found was an old trailer. When I arrived at school the next day, I was horrified. There were pictures on the blackboard in the classroom of my real life. Here I am digging in beds of dirt as a pig, and here I am walking into a shabby trailer. It was a total disaster. I screamed something through my tears. I ran to the restroom, which was closed for repairs. Luckily, the door was open, so I locked it myself from the inside. And that's where my story began. And to be honest, I don't want to go out from there. I'd rather be alone, but my plans were interrupted by Jared. He was easily able to open a locked door by pulling the latch because he was very strong, and the door opened and my classmates appeared on the doorstep. I had already prepared myself for them to wrap me in toilet paper and then walk me over to the school or miss me here forever because they've heard so much from me. But all of a sudden, Jared suddenly closed the door behind him, and we were left alone. "What's with all the circus?" he asked sternly. "I just wanted you to like me," I squeaked back. "Constructing yourself as a generous philanthropist and then the strange major?" I was playing around. I couldn't hold back the tears, and I covered my face. "All this for my attention? You could have just come up." I did, and you didn't notice me at all. A scream burst from my chest on its own. You came up to me once and then you ran away. It was my first week at a new school. I didn't know or notice anyone at all. It wasn't until that moment that I realized what an idiot I had been. Instead of trying to make normal contact, I just decided to take the most idiotic and difficult role. I thought it was over, but it wasn't. Jared was so understanding and got me out of the bathroom, not letting the guys hurt me. Seeing the condition I was living in, Jared helped my family and he promised to be there for me on the condition that I would be myself and not pretend to be another person. Jared's kindness overwhelmed me, and I'm glad to have someone like that in my life.